What is up, everybody? Bob here from Prospect Analytics, and today we are going to look at the hottest hitters with Bowman autographs from last week's games. For those of you who don't know, part of what I do on the site is called the Hot Sheet. Every Monday is hitters and every Tuesday is pitchers. And for the hitter segment, what I do is I sort all of the minor league stats for the week prior, and I look at only hitters who had an OPS over 1,000 for the week. I then knock out any player who does not have a first Bowman autograph, and I bring these box scores for only the Bowman players to you. Obviously, there are tons of games between DSL, Complex, Single A, all the way up to Triple A. It's a nightmare to check all of those box scores and try to stay up to date with how everybody is performing. So we do these hot sheets. On these hot sheets, I give you all of the names. I give you their base autograph. If they're a repeat offender, meaning they've made the list 2 or 3 weeks in a row, I will do a little write-up on the player. I'll give you a buy rating. I'll tell you how much that autograph price has changed since the last week. These sheets actually give us one of our best buying opportunities during the season. You know, a lot of big name players, they have a hot week, their price spikes up immediately, but it's not uncommon when we do our hot sheets to see guys who have an OPS over 1,000 for, say, 4 or 5 weeks without seeing a single dollar increase in their base autograph. And that's kind of when guys, you know, they haven't gotten the public love yet, even though their stats are trending in a positive direction. So that's kind of what we try to capture, is staying up to date, knowing who's playing well, and getting to those cards before everybody else has realized it. So just as a reminder, if you go over to the site, www.prospect-analytics.com, you can see our hot sheets. As I said, Monday was hitters, yesterday's was pitchers, and we are offering a 7-day free trial. You will not be charged if you cancel in the first 7 days. So just go in, take a look, test out a free trial, see if it's something you might be interested in. We also send out a morning email blast every morning, giving you a home run tracker for the day prior, top 10 hitters, top 10 pitchers. And again, all of this is only prospects with Bowman autographs, so there's no more guessing when you see highlights. You know, is this a guy I can go buy? I'm only going to give you prospects that you can buy Bowman autographs of. So we'll get into the complex league, which is rookie ball. Now, these are the top 10 hitters with Bowman autographs sorted by OPS from last week's games. Now, for this video, I'm only going to give you the top 10 at each level just so you can kind of see. But over on the site, on the actual hot sheets, you get everybody with an OPS over 1,000. Some levels, there's 20, 25 hitters. Over on the sheets, you get not only the home run and stolen base numbers, which I'll give you here, but also extra base hits, their walk to strikeout ratio, what their batting average was for the week, and of course, their hobby ranking, which is where I have them ranked in my prospect rankings, and a buy rating that is based off of their price versus my hobby rank. I have sort of an expected target value. All of the players who are in my top 250 hitters, they will get an expected autograph price, kind of like a target price, and then a buy rating. I will tell you buy, hold, sell on all of these guys who are in my top 250. So it's great information if you want to go over there and take a look at it. Starting at the top here, the highest OPS of any hitter with a Bowman autograph in the complex league last week was Corey Kuzin of the Royals. Now, he's a very interesting name, $6 base autograph. In his draft class, he was considered to have the best speed of anybody that the Royals took, but he missed a full year. So he wasn't really a name that anybody was after in Bowman, hence the low price, but he looks great in the complex league. Obviously, you hate to see him miss that time, but he's still only 19. So it's not like he's super old for the level. Hopefully we see him move up to Single A, but the powers look good. We know that the speed is good. He's kind of a name to look for. Then you have Giancory De La Cruz of the Marlins at number 2, Mason Neville of the Reds at number 3, Yorger Bautista of the Mariners at number 4, Alessander De La Cruz of the Rockies at 5, Talon Serrano of the Twins at 6, Naibel Mariano of the Reds at 7, Fernando Cruz of the Cubs at 8, Diber De Los Santos of the Twins at 9, and Harold Rivas of the Red Sox at 10. Also on these hot sheets, the ages will be color-coded, so I'll let you know, if they're too old or too young for the level, those will get color-coded green and orange. It's very, very important to pay attention to age versus level. It's one of the things that people overlook most when it comes to prospecting. Mason Neville's a perfect example. He's a good tools guy. I like the power and the speed. He had a 40% strikeout rate in Single A, got demoted to the complex league, so he's crushing the ball right now, but as a 22-year-old college bat in the complex league, it's kind of hard to put a ton of stock into that. Whereas when you look down at these guys who are 18, Talon Serrano, Harold Rivas just turned 18. That's a little bit more impressive to be performing at such a high level. So I will give you those numbers. I'll tell you the average age for a hitter at each level on those hot sheets on the site, and then kind of give you a difference to let you know, not only who's playing well, but who is also younger than average for that level. It's a very important aspect of the card market that people tend to overlook. But that is your complex league hitters. As you can see, the complex league, not usually full of the biggest names. 9 of these 10 have a base autograph that is $10 or lower, with, of course, Yorger Bautista, who was one of the big international signings from last year at about $28. He's a very interesting name. Some of the best tools in that international class: power, speed, his arm, just rifle. But he needs those tools to kind of come together. He's ran a high strikeout rate. The contact rates are kind of iffy, but he's the type of player that people love in Bowman because that power and speed are so good. But these were your 10 hottest hitters in the complex league for last week. Now we get into single A, and you'll notice that as we move levels, you start to see more names that you recognize, which makes sense, of course. The highest OPS of any Bowman hitter last week was actually Byron Churio of the Twins with a 1.788 OPS and only a $4 base autograph. He had a 2 home run, 2 stolen base week. Shotaro Moru, we love to see him get on the right track. He was one of the biggest chases in 2025 Bowman Chrome. Still an $85 base autograph, 2-way prospect. I know a lot of people are very excited about him. Number 3, Kevin Castillo of the Angels. Number 4, Eddie Rinder of the Pirates. Number 5, Ivan Luciano of the Diamondbacks. Number 6, Ching Sin Ko of the Dodgers. Number 7, Ryan Mitchell of the Cardinals. Number 8, Ichiro Kano of the Reds. 9 is JoJo Parker of the Blue Jays. And 10, Oswaldo Osorio of the Dodgers. Obviously, there's some very interesting names in this group. Eddie Reinders is a player who is a sleeper for me in 2024 Bowman draft, but he looked kind of lost last year. This year, he's getting a little bit better. He still needs to improve, but it's great to see him on the right track. Ko, you see the $129 base autograph. He was a redemption. His base autographs are very short printed. He is a nice prospect, but that is what causes his base autograph to sell for such a high number. Ryan Mitchell, very interesting. He was in 2025 Bowman draft. He was a very popular sleeper, very good tools. You see the 2 homers, 3 stolen bases. He needs to work on the approach and contact a little bit, but if he can get things ironed out, he obviously has a very high hobby upside because those tools are so good. But of course, the name that I love to see most on here, JoJo Parker, who was one of my favorite hitters in the entire draft class. I actually said in my 2025 Bowman draft write-up that I was putting Eli Willits number 1 because he would come with the allure of being a first pick, which would kind of drive his, card ceiling up. But as far as tools, I actually was higher on JoJo Parker. Obviously, I will admit now that I was wrong. Eli Willits' power looks much better this year at 18 than I had expected from him. But JoJo Parker, he's starting to catch fire. 1.314 OPS last week, 3 home runs. I see him a lot. He plays in Dunedin, which is in the Florida League where I'm at. So I get a good look at JoJo Parker. He looks much improved over these last couple of weeks. He's trending up. He's definitely a name that I am watching going forward. Now moving into high A, a couple sneaky names here, including number 1 at the top, Brandon Compton of the Marlins, who had a 4 home run, 5 stolen base week. Don't see those very often. You also don't see a player have that good of a week and still have a $6 base autograph. Now, for those of you who don't know, Brandon Compton is a very interesting offensive profile. He walks a lot, but he also strikes out a lot and he doesn't hit for a high average. So you're really buying the OBP, the power, and the speed. But at the 2025 MLB Draft Combine, he not only set the record for highest exit velocity ever recorded at the event, but he actually broke it 3 times in one session. And I believe he has, of the 10 hardest hit balls there in the last 5 years, I think he has like 8 of them or something like that. Just, he put on an absolute clinic. The Marlins scooped in and grabbed him. He had a very slow start to the year, but that power is finally starting to show up and he is mashing the ball. He's definitely a player I would be interested in looking at $6. But this whole top 4 here, these are names you love to see. Welbin Francisca, there's a callback there. Welbin Francisca, very popular sleeper a couple of years ago. He's a smaller guy, typical Guardians prospect, switch hitting, middle infielder, really good contact skills. But we weren't sure about the power, and he had a couple of down years where it looked like maybe he wasn't even going to get to average power. That kind of cooled his card market. To see him hit of a 3 home run week in high A, and again, he just turned 20 because he's been at advanced levels for his age the last couple of years. He's definitely a name to keep an eye on if that power has ticked up. It's a great sign. Nathan Flewelling, everybody who knows me knows that I beat the drum on Nathan Flewelling all offseason. I had him as a 5 out of 5 rated buy on my Rays sheet at $12. He has now more than tripled that, up to $39. One of the youngest hitters in high A with a Bowman autograph. Love to see him continuing to perform well. Braylon Payne, another one that I was really high on. His base autograph's up to $49 after another home run and a couple of stolen bases. Double plus speed, phenomenal athlete. There was some worry about if he was ever going to hit for power, but the power numbers have really popped this year. And the Brewers just seem like they just do not miss lately with prospect development. So he's definitely a name to watch as well. Tony Blanco Jr. coming in at number 5. Tucker Toman at number 6. Ramon Ramirez at number 7, Braylon Tavera at 8, Kyle Lodis at 9, and Yerlin Confidant at 10. As you can see, there's some sneaky value you can find. Everyone 5 through 10, base autograph under $10. So some of these guys get hot, and no one's even really paying attention because they're not a big name. Tucker Toman's one that stands out to me. at $1. You know, he was a comp B pick out of high school back in 2022, but he kind of struggled his first couple of years, but he really found it last year. He looked much improved, but we never really saw the plus power that he was projected for show up. We kind of saw improvements in the contact, in the hit tool. This year, that power that we were, kind of expecting when he was drafted has shown up. His ISO has gone through the roof. Obviously, at 22 and a half, he's bordering on being a little bit too old for high A, as is Brandon Compton. And I should clarify, I mean, for Bowman people, they would consider that old. I don't think that it's old for the level, but we'd like to see him get a promotion, maybe do it at the AA level, and then maybe he would start to get some more love in the Bowman market. But because he had some good pedigree as a high schooler, he looked improved last year. He's now looked even more improved again. Tucker Toman for $1, kind of sneaky play there. Ramon Ramirez of the Royals, a 3 home run week. He's another one that, as people know, I've been high on since 2024 Bowman. So there are some good names on here. Obviously, if you go to the site, you can see where I have them all ranked and what I would rate them out of 5 as a buy rating based on their prices today. Moving on up again into AA, we've got some big names here. Nobody with a Bowman autograph last week at any level had a higher OPS than Rowdy Rodriguez of the Angels at 2.094. This is a fascinating player. He showed up on my hot sheets a lot last year, but he was 22 years old in single A. So even when he posted really good home run stolen base numbers, I was kind of like, 22 in single A. I can only give so much weight to that. Then he goes to the Arizona Fall League, and I think he batted like 400. I mean, he could not miss. And that's kind of when the wheels started turning on. Well, single A to Arizona Fall League, that's a big step up. There's some great prospects in the Arizona Fall League. It is a good hitters environment. So it was kind of like, he's continuing the success against better competition, but is it real? Then the Angels opted to have him skip high A entirely. He went from single A last year to AA this year, and he has not lost a step. He is mashing. He has moved inside my top 100 hitters. His base autograph is still under $20. He's a very sneaky name to look out for. Number 2, Demetrio Crisantis, another guy I was really high on. He was injured to start the year, but he came back a couple of weeks ago and has been on fire since he returned, which we love to see. Number 3, Dylan O'Ray of the Brewers. Number 4, Jace Avina of the Yankees. Number 5, Travis Honeyman of the Cardinals. Number 6 and 7, back-to-back Brewers here with almost an identical OPS. Andrew Fisher at 6 and Jesus Madej, the number 1 prospect, at number 7. Obviously, you can see the difference in base autograph price. Andrew Fisher at $103, Jesus Madej at $316. And again, I mentioned age versus level. Look over at that left column in the age. Jesus Madej, 3 full calendar years younger than Andrew Fisher. When you look at the average age for AA hitters, Jesus Madej is about 4 years younger than the average hitter, which is just absolutely incredible. That is why he gets this number 1 prospect status. To see a teenager performing against arguably the hardest minor league level to hit in is just crazy. Him and Leo DeVries both are just absolutely insane at what they do for their age. So love to see that pair of Brewers on there. Number 8, Chris Newell of the Dodgers, Luis Verdugo of the Padres at number 9, and Dylan Lewis of the Marlins at number 10. Now, Dylan Lewis just got his first autograph in 2026 Bowman. He's a great power speed combo guy. I think that he's a little bit slept on. Obviously, he was traded from the Yankees, so that hurts the value a little bit. You're in your Yankees uniform. Yankees prospects tend to sell really well. Marlins prospects, not really as much. Now, you'll notice the NA in his base autograph price. He actually does not have base autographs, so he has the color, he has the variations, but for whatever reason, he is the only player in 2026 Bowman who appears to not have a base autograph, so that's interesting. It might help the value of his color because there are less autographs in circulation. Probably something I will do a deep dive on later, but that is your top 10 for AA in the previous week of games. And last but not least, we have AAA. Your highest OPS in AAA last week, Tommy White. He's enjoying that park there in Las Vegas. He had a 4 home run week with a 1.956 OPS. He's a player who was known for his big power coming out of LSU, but he actually kind of had a little bit of a shift his first year professionally. He hit for a higher average, better contact metrics than we expected, but kind of a lower home run and ISO total than you would have imagined. Now that power we saw in college starting to come back. I think he's trending in the right direction. He's definitely a name to look out for. Danny Serretti of the Diamondbacks at number 2. And then we have this little pairing here. Everyone who knows me knows I'll love this little 3 and 4 right here. Luke Adams and Cooper Ingle, 2 guys that I both had as buys this offseason on my buy sheets, both having great years this year in AAA. Luke Adams just came back from injury, and I think he's been in AAA for a couple weeks, and he is just smashing the ball. Things you love to see out of both of those guys. You got Judd Fabian of the Orioles at number 5. Here's our biggest name on the AAA list, Joshua Baez, with a 6 home run week. He has a $108 base autograph. I think it's probably only a matter of time before we see him get called up to the Cardinals. This is massive power. He was one of the biggest prospect risers in all of baseball last year. He's always had the power and the speed, but he posted some very scary contact metrics, strikeout percentages earlier in his career, and those went up a ton last year. He had a little bit of a swing change, a little flatter bat path. He got to much better quality of contact, and the numbers just kind of popped. Now, I will say this year that approach has looked a little bit more like the old Baez. The contact's a little bit down. You know, the walk to strikeout ratio is kind of like backslid to where it was before. But again, you're launching 6 home runs in a week. The card people don't care. He is a great Bowman prospect and should be on the verge of his MLB call-up. And then we have Gage Miller of the Marlins at number 7, Brock Rodden of the Mariners at 8, Cal Conley of the Braves at 9, and Ethan O'Donnell of the Marlins at 10. As I said, I can't provide the hobby rank and the buy ratings on here, but if you go over to the site and look at Monday's hot sheet, you will get all of that, plus more stats for all of these guys and more. So make sure, again, you go over to www.prospect-analytics.com, start your 7-day free trial. It will help you on a daily and weekly basis track not only who is hot in the minor leagues, but what changes we've seen to the autograph prices on these players. And now that we've added our target prices and buy ratings for every hitter in the top 250, it makes that process even easier to figure out when you should buy, when you should hold, and when you should sell. So again, go over to www.prospect-analytics.com, start your 7-day free trial. No hassle. You can cancel whenever you want. Check out our hot sheets. Check out our prospect rankings and buy ratings, which update every week. It'll be pitchers one week, hitters the next. Every morning you get that Bowman Brew daily blast telling you what those hitters and pitchers did the day prior. And it's just really good tools that I think everybody can use. Thanks again for watching and listening, and we will see you next time.